Perfect. Okay, this should work. Let's TP just a little bit further. This is purely because you have to type in a bunch of numbers to get this working, and this is like an easier number to type in. There's no zeros. That's you
Okay.
think I'm joking, but that's actually legit.
No, I believe you.
Okay. All right. What do we want to do? Do we want to make like a 16 RD, like 256 wide, I guess?
Yeah.
The width is really easy to change, so
Okay.
that's not as much of a problem. Or I guess we can do like 300 by 300.
hmm
Okay. Let's do that. Let's do that. That's a nice round number. A lot of people like
Yeah.
doing 300.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I have the Lightmatic, and
hmm
I have set its placement origin. We'll set its placement origin to 2111 and 2111, because, why not? And we're actually going to go ahead and leave the game briefly. All right. So I've gone over to the calculator page. I don't know if I sent the link for this to you.
I don't know if you sent it, but I do have it open on the screen, so
That
either
sounds
it's
good.
underneath the video or you send it to me.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to get to. I've linked it in a bunch of
Okay.
different places. All right.
Mhm.
So we are not single player. This is a multiplayer setup.
Mm.
Our render distance is 16. I don't remember when you have to do this. It's in the video, but I'm just going to assume we don't. And if we have to raise a secondary player, we can do that. It's not a big problem. Our placement origin is 2111. And machine width, we'll set this to 300. Because that way we just have to change fewer subregions, I guess. It just gets it set up immediately. All right, so now we have all of our subregion offsets. And the ones that are in bold are the ones we have to change. And the ones that aren't in bold, we don't have to change these, because this will just be the default one that comes with our placement origin. So when we set the origin in game, it's automatically going to have the player at this X, return at this X, that sort of thing. I guess a lot of these, the X doesn't change, it's just the Z. But then for the item conveyor, we do have to change the X. And there might be a slight error here, but I guess we'll find out, because when I made it the other day, it didn't work properly. But it did work the other day that I did it, so I'm sure everything will be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's go back into the game. All right. So we are in here. We have all of our Lightmatics, and conveniently, they're in order, the same order, because I've renamed all of the subregions. And we just have to change some of these. So we configure main player 1. This one, so the X value is correct. The Y value is presumably correct. And we just change this. So this is going to be 2948. And player return. 2611. Main player spawner. And this is creative only. The ones that are for spawning in players, but we're going to change them anyways, just because it makes it a lot more convenient to test. And of course, these are just the values for this specific offset. But the reason we're doing this here is so that we can paste the machine in and then recreate a new Lightmatic that will have the correct values. And then we can use that Lightmatic in survival or in the survival copy server. And these are purely because of we have to change the placer stuff because we changed the render distance. So the piston placer player has to be farther away from the machine, otherwise it would load the chunks, which would not be good. 3. Perfect. Okay. And now, because it's 16RD, we just have to check real quick. Well, I mean, it's not because of the render distance. We just should probably do a sanity check real quick. You can't see this. I'm just going to make sure that looks about right.
Oh, I guess the raise secondary player is the player that loads the chunks?
Raise secondary player raises the player on the right. So we have basically the Lightmatic refers to this player on the right as the secondary player and the player on the left as the main player. The reason this is the main player is because this is the player that actually controls the movement of the machine. When this player comes back, the machine will move over. And the secondary player is purely just for loading some of the chunks. So the main player loads half the chunks and the secondary player loads the other half. But the secondary player is the secondary player because it's not the main player, essentially. I don't know. I considered saying right and left, but the
Hmm.
issue is that if you're looking at it from the other direction, then you'll get very confused. So
Yeah.
this at least gives a bit of extra meaning. It's the main player because it's the player that controls the machine. I guess I
Okay.
could have called it the control player or something, but it does also load some of the chunks. You end up needing
Hmm.
you need to lazy load a 4x4 of chunks because of the way the mechanic works. And to
Yeah.
lazy load a 4x4, you need 2 players. You need a player on each side. So
Hmm.
yeah, this all looks about right to me.
And then the player that places the pistons is then. So with this one, you would then need 3 players.
Yes, you do need 3 players. It's theoretically
Okay.
possible to design this machine such that it only requires 2 players, but it would just it's really not worth it because if you're going to have two
Yeah.
players
Yeah.
anyways, you might as well have three. And the extra work to get a third player working and the amount of time it would take would just be pretty bad. And this looks okay. So obviously this is not correct. There's a bunch of holes because we've
Oh,
basically
really?
expanded. Yeah, shocker. We basically
Oh.
expanded the machine like crazy, but currently, as far as I'm aware, there's no way in Litematica to say like, oh hey, if you're gonna expand it in like multiples of 16, like paste this thing in between. That would be a lot to
Hmm.
ask of Massa. I am tempted to ask Massa if there was a way we could put like scripts into Litematica, but I kind of doubt he would do that. So yeah. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into area selection browser, simple area selection mode. Never heard of that in my life. I don't know what that is. How do I exit simple area selection mode?
In the main screen of Lightmedica.
Mhm.
So if you just hit M, bottom left, it says area selection mode,
Oh,
simple.
I see. Normal.
Yeah. And the tool mode is just the one that you
Oh
can
yeah.
select with the tool.
There we go. And anyways, so we're back here. We're going to create a selection from our placement. And we will call this 16. Oh, what's my naming system? 1 second. Go back to my GitHub. Let's see. We're going to call this one. Okay, we're going to give the width first, 300 wide. And then we will call it 16RD 15 sim. And this is the sim and RD difference is only 1 because it's a server. If it was single player, it would be 14 sim, assuming you have 16 RD.
Mm.
That's just a tip for anybody who's watching this. But yeah, probably not going to be an issue for almost anyone because I don't think there's that many people who are doing this in single player.
Hmm.
Maybe there are. Maybe there's an entire niche sub-community of single-player hardcore tech MC players that are gonna be like removing millions of Bedrock in their single-player world, and like just leaving their computer on for weeks on end. But I kind of have my doubts about that. I guess we'll
Yeah.
see. Okay. So what we need to do basically is we need to use all the different segments in here. I just uploaded these to the GitHub page. They weren't up there before. You would have had to just
Mm.
manually figure it out. But now there are segment lightmatics that are also available. I guess I can show that really, really, really quickly. Switch. I won't bother changing the thing, but yeah. So as you can see, we have a bunch of extra lightmatics here. So this is like the piston placer segment. This is the main player segment, secondary player segment, and then the ones that are marked with 5 times and 8 times is how many segments there are. It's not just one segment; it's like extra segments because that means it's way easier to place them when you're fixing it later. Anyways, let's go back to the game. Perfect. So we are going to start off with the player segments, and then we will go to the placer segment, which does also involve a player, but we're just making a small distinction there. We have our main player segment, and I'll grab this. Which side does this go to? This side. Okay, we'll start from over here then. And we basically just need to hook this up. Crap. Then paste this in. So this looks about correct to me. Okay.
Yeah, eyeballing it is always good.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm glad you agree.
Yeah.
This is not going to work super well. I might have made a slight mistake. That's fine. I'll fix it. Okay. So we just have to line things up here. But you have to keep in mind that these here are instant segments. whereas this here is a delayed segment, and you have to make sure that the delay always stays the same. So you can't introduce delayed segments. And there's a delay segment here, and I just pasted it in a delayed segment. So I've added a delay segment. We have to remove this one here. So we're going to overlap.
So that one will have to be removed, yeah.
Exactly.
I guess
exactly. So I just pasted over it, but this is the issue I have. I did it in the wrong direction, so now there's one over here. So we have to basically just go and fix this. It'll just take a minute. We'll line that over here. So yeah, again, this lines up, and the delay segment should be the last segment. It doesn't matter where the delay segment is, but you're just going to end up with it like this anyways. So, and conveniently, as you can probably tell, that didn't take any effort. That didn't take any figuring out. We just literally pasted in the schematic twice, and the left side is now fixed, and it's done.
Yeah.
And the reason that is because Dezu is a very kind person. Dezu initially made this part of the machine. I mean, Dezu made the Bedrock breaker, and he made the infinite, or he made the lazy loading setup, which this is a part of. And so Dezu was like, hey, we'll make it in multiples of 8 so you can easily change the render distance. We will see shortly that that is not the case for my segment of this machine. Such is life. Such as life. So we've got our secondary player segment, and again, the main player is on the left, and the secondary player is on the right here. And the segment is just an extra Lightmatic, even though you could probably like flip that one, it wouldn't make a difference, but yeah. And things are slightly different again, so we'll just overlap here and make sure that we're overwriting everything so that it's the correct repeating pattern. And again, at the very end, we will also overlap, but I think we can just overlap like this. Oh no, that will break it. So let's go back 8 blocks. And then this should overlap properly. And then on the end here, as you can see, this hooks up. And if we had selected in the tool, if we had selected to raise the secondary player, that would have taken this player and it would have raised it up by 5 blocks.
Okay. Why would you want that?
Well, that's a great question. That's a great question, Glotz. Wow, what a great and totally unedited segment.
Definitely
unedited. So anyways, if the width is very big and your render distance is very small, you might end up with this player being... So basically, when you expand the render distance, you have to move this player out. And when you expand the width, you have to move this Lightmatic to the left. If you don't expand the render distance, but you do expand the width, this ends up moving over here, but this doesn't move over here. So this return station might end up being on the other side of this flying machine. And then the secondary player is like going straight through here, and it just breaks everything. And the easy way to fix that is just to raise up the secondary player, which would just raise up this, and it would raise up the secondary player. And all you have to do is make like an extra instant line. Basically, you have to make a little instant connector here, a little vertical instant connector, super easy to do, just like this stuff here, which instantaneously moves things over. And then this player here would be offset up, and it can just fly over the main player station here. But not an issue when you're on 16RD unless you have a really, really big width. If we were to make this way wider, then this could maybe come all the way over here, and that would cause issues. But don't have to do that. Again, our width is not nearly big enough. If your width is, I think it's a factor of 2 times. So if your render distance is like half as big as your width, then it's an issue. Pretty sure that's how it works. It's something like that. So not the case here, because our render distance is like not even close to being half as big as the width. So
you'll add the correct math in the edit then.
No.
What the ratio is where you need to stop worrying about it. No.
Maybe in the good edit of this explanation. But anyways, so that is the simple stuff done. Now we're going to go ahead and do some of the slightly more complicated things. So I want to make this into a nice Lightmatic. So this is not necessary. You don't have to do this. But I'm going to go ahead and add in Bedrock to over here. Oh, I always do this the wrong way. Whatever. We're going to fill in all the Bedrock. So that if you're testing the machine, you have Bedrock in the correct position. And then everything else you do have to do, you'll fill this in. Oops. And this is going to be west. Oh. Yeah, I'm not going to spend much time editing this, I don't think. Oh, thank you. That is epic. And we need...
those as well, I guess.
Yeah, if you want to fill in the pistons that are facing down, I will go ahead and work on the next section, which is going to be the floor placer, which I don't know if this is going to be a pain to do for this, but if it is, then at least we'll have a single video showing that, because in the proper explanation video, the floor placer worked perfectly, which is not really what I was going for, but such is life. I don't know where the placer segment is. I'm losing my mind. Oh, here we go. So this is a placer segment. And for those of you who are watching this and don't know, this placer is by Glowsquid. Go subscribe to Glowsquid on YouTube. Now I'm just not going to release this. And as you saw over there, we had to overlap this redstone block. So this redstone block can't be here. Yeah. And it should look like this. So you should never have more than 3 slime here before the observer. So if you placed it too far to the right and then you replace the redstone block with an observer, or sorry, with a slime, that would break the machine because it would be too many blocks.
Yeah.
So just have to make sure you can make it, you can compact it. So you can make it like this if you want to, but you can't make it like this and insert a slime block in there. That will break the machine. And that's important to keep in mind if you find out that you can't set this up properly because the width of the floor placer, like it's too wide and it goes like over the end and you can't block the pistons. Then what you'll want to do is you'll want to compact a bunch of them, or just use a different floor placer that's not this one, because you really shouldn't be using this floor placer. This is a 4 game tick floor placer. You don't need to use a 4 game tick floor placer for this. A 10 game tick one would work. This is way overcomplicated, but I'm trolling people. So, and that is not a joke.
Just a little bit more build effort, just
a wee bit. Okay, so this is going to be a pain. So as you can see over here, I believe if we are to count from here, let's see. So this piston's going to be over here. When the machine actually runs, the piston gets moved over. This piston gets moved over to where this bedrock is. And there's going to be a slime block here. And so our question is basically how many blocks is it pushing us? So we have slime block is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That might actually be just enough. We'll double check because I never understand how floor placers work. So got to move it over by 1.
Is it in this case actually a floor placer or more of a piston roof placer?
I think you just call it a floor placer, but yeah, I mean, up to you, really.
Yeah. It's a question of perspective. If you're on top, it's a floor. If you're below, it's a roof.
I'm pretty sure this should work. But yeah, let's just double check just in case. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then...
So what did you just do? Oh, just remove sticky piston with a regular piston?
Oh wait, did I replace the sticky piston with a regular piston? Oh, I'm so bad. You didn't see anything. Wait. Oh, yeah, whoops. Okay, we're fine. No, I'm not doing anything. I'm just adding this in so that I can test to make sure that it can push the pistons all the way over. I think this might yet again be an exactly
it worked.
It's literally perfect. All right. This won't always happen to you, but in this case, life is beautiful. All is well, and this will work literally perfectly. Generally speaking, you won't have it line up perfectly. You'll have to go over here and like add a redstone block. If this was your last piston, you'd have to add a redstone block here or something, but we don't have to do that because as it turns out, it literally just goes straight to the end. So that was not calculated. This also happened to me yesterday. Well, like 3 days ago when I was last working on this. Which is, I don't know if that's frustrating or a good thing, but I will take it. It sounds like a win to me.
Dedication.
Don't know. Yeah, I think we need that. Okay. So everything is good so far. And we just have to modify the last part of the machine. So everything is basically done except for the offset here to the floor placer. The player over here has to receive the pistons from the piston items from the machine, and it also has to be able to move its pistons back into the machine. And this is where things get a little bit awkward, even more awkward than they were before. So we're going to go ahead and load in our... I forget what it is. Please tell me I put it in here. Secondary player. Loop placer segment by glow squid. Secondary player. Oh no, I see. Oops, I forgot. So this schematic, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go over here, see where you have loop infinite bedrock breaker. This is your placement. Don't go over there. Go into loaded schematics. Go to loop infinite breaker, which is where you placed it. You're gonna create a new placement. You're gonna go into that placement. So this is our new placement. This is our old one. You can tell because this one says the placement was unmodified. You're gonna go configure this placement. Turn off all the subregions. You're gonna scroll down to where we have I don't know which one is it. Player distancing line single segment. Sure, we'll take this. Placement on. What is this? Oh, okay. This is a signal. This is only one segment. I don't want that. That's ugly. Player distancing line. Okay, we're gonna take the player distancing line. And this. What am I changing? Oh, here. Okay. We're gonna take this. Oh, yeah. The origin's a bit off, but that is life. We're gonna take this and we're gonna move it over here. And I think
just match it up with just already existing, or
exactly. So we will go ahead and paste this over here. This is the easy part. The hard part is over here. In theory. Boop-a-de-boop.
Unless it matches perfectly.
It does not match perfectly. I can tell you right now that it does not match perfectly, but fortunately we don't end up with any major issues because of this. So this here. 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, I just noticed. Nice Lightmatic has stuck observers.
Yes, it's a bit awkward. We'll fix that in a sec. Well, we won't actually fix that at all. We'll just leave it the way it is. But we'll fix it when we actually want to.
And then leave people scratching their head in survival how the heck they're supposed to get a permanently powered observer.
This Lightmatic is like one small issue with that, but that's such as life. Okay. So this here, if we take a look, so this is where this is supposed to be. But if we look over here, things are a bit off. So this is supposed to be the end, and it's supposed to connect to this, but this is 2 extra blocks. So if we put this in here, we have 2 blocks of overlap. That means all we have to do is move this over by 2 blocks. And this is towards positive X. So actually, we can do this really easily. What we'll do is we'll just use a piston and push it over. Because we pasted it in anyways, so why not? Nothing's stopping me from doing this. Oops. Oh, I think I broke it. That's what's stopping me from doing it. Okay, don't do this. Don't do this at home, kids. We're just gonna go ahead and fill this. Perfect. It's gone. Wow, I never made any mistakes in my life. We're going to go back into our old Lightmatic, right? And if you remember, these 2 here, oh, wait, no, sorry, these 2 here, we modified these subregions already. We're just going to go ahead and modify them again. And we're actually going to turn everything off because we only want to paste these one in. We only want to paste these ones in. So we're going to turn these 2 back on. And then we're going to move them over by 2 blocks. And I don't remember which direction it was, so I'm going to double check.
It's in X direction positive.
Yes, indeed. So we're going to move them both towards positive X, and we're going to move them in 2 blocks towards positive X. So this is 21372. It is now 21374. The other one here is going to be 75. And if we turn on Lightmatic again, you can see, you can go ahead and select this over here. It's 2 blocks over from where our area selection is. And we'll paste it in. And it won't overwrite everything because we're on a server. If you're in single player, can't guarantee what will happen. But because we're on a server, we can be guaranteed, I think, that Lightmatica will not screw with us. Thank you, Lightmatica. I appreciate it. All right, so we have this in. We've turned off the schematic, and everything seems to be okay. The area section is offset, so I'm just going to fix that real quick. We're going to end up fixing all the area sections anyways in a few minutes, but that should be good. That should be good. We'll move that over here, there. And you could theoretically move it in this direction as well, but we're moving in this direction. If you move it in this direction, you will move the player closer to the machine, and that is dangerous. Moving the player farther away from the machine, very rarely going to be dangerous. It could still be dangerous. If you move it really far away, it might like be a little dangerous on certain like render distance and stuff. But yeah, moving it farther away a little bit is usually going to be safer. So Yeah, unless you really want to like go ahead and count exactly how far this is away from where the pistons are going to be in a lazy check over there. This is the best way to do it. So we'll go back to schematic pacing mode and move this over here. And this will just connect just like this back into the machine, and it's perfect. And the last thing we have to
now
do...
the tricky part, the ice.
Yes. Well, fortunately, the ice is not really the tricky part. In this case, it's not going to be a huge problem to set up. But the ice can definitely be a problem. If the ice is a huge problem for you, just use vitamin C's. I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out. Everything will be fine. What am I looking for? This note block matters to me. Yeah, it does. Player distancing line. Middle part, item mover, single segment? Which one is this one? Is it just one segment? Oh yeah, okay. This is correct. We just have to bring our ice over here. Boop. And just align it perfectly. There's no need to overlap anything. This is going to be correct. And if you really want to be paranoid, you can count and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 blocks, so it is correct. I'm paranoid, so we're going to do that, even though, you know, it should work. So because we're doing this 300 wide, we don't need to worry. But if you're going to do this at a more wide than 300, you might have some issues, and I'm just going to warn about that. If you have a lot of pistons, it is theoretically possible that they'll despawn while they're on the placer down here. Because what you have to do is you have to fill up the inventory of the placer player, and then the extra items just end up sitting here. So if you had like 1,000 items or something, they might despawn because it takes too long to place them down. You can just do the math. This is like approximately 12 game ticks, and then there's maybe like a 30-second delay for them to get to the player in the first place. So you can do the math and just figure out like how many there are going to be that are just going to be sitting there, how long they're going to be there. It's possible that when the item stack changes, it refreshes it, but I don't really know how that works. Worst case scenario, you can make a second bot player and you can have it like standing here or something, and then have it like refreshing the inventory. You can have a bot player here, have it like constantly throwing the items up. But I mean, who knows?
Or a dolphin.
Okay, yeah, there's ways around it. But yeah, don't have to worry about it for 300 wide. I can guarantee you that 300 wide should work. I'm pretty sure up to 500 wide should work pretty consistently, but I haven't actually tested. But I'm confident that 400 wide will work. That's the one that's going to go into the explanation video. The good explanation video, which this is not, to be clear, for anybody watching this, assuming I actually upload this instead of just destroying the footage. So it's actually done, but what I'm going to do is fix all the area selections. And I don't know if there's a faster way to do this, but we're just going to do some scrolling. Oh my goodness, I'm an idiot.
There is... what is it? Corners mode expand, I think? Wait. Yeah, selection corner mode under generic to expand, and then you just left click with the tool to the outer edge, like the outer block, and then it just expands the selection to that block.
Selection corner mode.
So configuration under generic, yeah. Yeah, change that to expand, and then if you just click with the tool to any block, it expands the outer edge to that.
Oh my goodness, this is so much better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Oh my goodness, that's going to save a lot of time.
Yes.
In the video, I'm saved. Oh, that's not a... Okay, we're going to turn off all my placements because that's going to confuse things. And we're just going to fix this. Put it here. Oh, it's so beautiful. You've saved me carpal tunnel.
Yeah, and Marsa also saved me hundreds of hours. Because, like,
yeah,
I don't even remember when that was, but I was just streaming and just scrolling. He was like, cringe. I was like, why? Just use expand mode. I'm like, what is expand mode? It's like, just use it. It's fine. You click it.
Oh, this is so smart, Masa. You've thought of everything. Oh, crap.
Right?
That was a mistake. Okay, we're fine, though. We're fine. I have made a huge mistake. I don't even know what this was meant to select. What even is this? Instant line. Wait, which instant line is this? Crap. Okay. Oops. Mode. Corners. I am guessing that's this, right? Yeah, it is. Okay, that's fine. I can just I can do that the easy way. Oh wait, what? Oh, it's the entire instant line. Oh, okay, that's fine. That's still fixable. So left click is our left side. Right click is our right side. And I believe that contains everything. I also have soup on the stove that I have to go take care of shortly, but hopefully we can get this done real quick. We're going to speed run the last little bit here. Configuration mode, and then... I can find it, I'm sure. Selection corners mode. There we go. Okay. Oh, it's beautiful. I don't know. I don't know, man. NASA, he's a genius.
Yep.
Okay. That seems to be everything. That is all contained. This is all contained. Everything is beautiful. So I will go ahead and save this Lightmatic, which has a beautiful name, of course. Which requires a little bit of flying around because it is a gigantic Lightmatic. So there we go. Now we are going to test the machine because we can do that real quick. And while we're testing it, I'm going to go like take soup off the stove or something. What am I looking for? I already forgot what I called it. Oh, it's this one here. Okay. We'll just TP far away. 1,000. That should be good. We can always come back pretty easily. It's only 1,000 blocks. Okay. And we will paste that in. We have to do this manually because it seems that NBT pasting did not work. Not sure if there's something I have to enable for that, but it's fine. It's just 2 players, so we'll do that real quick. Back. Okay. So those are our 2 players spawned in. Normally you just right-click the note block and it'll do all that for you, but in this case, sometimes when you're in a server, can't do that, and that's okay.
Let me check view distance and simulation distance.
Okay. Default should
simulation.
Be fine. Oops. What did I just do? Okay. So what you have to do over here, pretty simple when you're testing. Delete the redstone block, delete both of the observers, and put them in again. Good stuff. Finally, to get the placer in, you have to line up the cursor. And you want to make it so that if you go forwards or backwards, the cursor is underneath the iron trapdoor. So right now it's not underneath it, so I have to adjust that a little bit. I'm going to just turn it to the right, like this. Yeah, that's good. And then you have to make sure that the player is in, survival mode. If they're in creative mode, it will break the machine. There we go. Oops. And we'll put him into continuous use mode. And then we'll give him minecarts, and 36 fills up the inventory. And then we will also drop the first one. Drop. Oh crap. There we go. Okay. So that's taken care of, and we'll just double check that he can place pistons. We'll give him 1 piston. Make sure that's working properly. That's good. Goes over here. And if he places 1 piston, the piston will end up right here. We can just destroy it again. If we left that 1 piston in, it would break the machine. So make sure, if you test it, you need to make sure everything looks like it does in the Lightmatic. It doesn't have to look like that after pausing the machine. You just have to make sure you're not modifying anything.
Okay.
So our sim distance is correct, I think.
What does it need to be?
Whatever it is will be fine. The default on a server should be fine, and if it's not fine, that is really important information. So I'm just going to go ahead and add an AFK platform over here. Normally that's what I do when I test. I just AFK over here, but this is like unnecessary. We just put it there for testing. And yeah, so to start the machine, pretty basic. We just have to destroy this redstone block right here. And do you want to do that? Because you are more than free to start this machine. It's your server, so yes. Go ahead.
This one?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, run away.
Okay.
So basically, I'll show you in FreeCam. FreeCam is fine to use because it doesn't load chunks. Oh crap.
Yeah, I can also do carpet create. Oh no, wait. The other players are still in creative mode, right?
Some of them are. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, also there might, as a side note, we have a lot of carpet mod settings enabled. If it doesn't work, there is entirely... Oh crap, let's do this real quick. I think the machine already broke, actually, probably. Yeah. Okay, let's paste it again. Yes, I always forget about carpet. Okay, let's go into carpet and just double check. So obviously, we can't disable explosions, so that will break the machine.
Yeah.
So that's fixed. Paste. And this is why you make a Lightmatic, because if we had just modified it and then found that out, that would have been very frustrating. It takes a long time to set up the machine, so you always make a Lightmatic, then you test the Lightmatic, and you don't regret anything. All right, that is all good. And over here, this is a pro tip for when you're testing. If you've already spawned the player in with the right location, or the right direction or angle, I guess, we can just TP. And just make sure he doesn't have anything in his hand. Should be good. And we will just double, triple check that everything's going to work properly real quick.
Did you already take care of the soup?
No, I did not, but we'll be fine, don't worry.
Okay.
Worst case scenario, it's a little burnt. Oops, crap. We're just going to give him 1 minecart. 2 minecarts to make sure that it doesn't go into his inventory. That's correct. I messed up the area selection. So we can actually, because we didn't, what am I trying to say? Because we didn't use the area selection one, we can actually just go back to our area selection. So let's TP 2 and 1, 1, 1, and we can go fix our area selection, and that will get us a fixed Lightmatic. And the reason is because when I did the expand, I forgot you actually have to lower this by 1. So we missed out on some of the blocks, and that is what has happened here. There we go. So we'll lower this by 1, and then, yeah, this all looks fine until you get over here, and you realize that we're missing those 2 blocks there, and we're missing these blocks here. So you don't want to be missing blocks. If you miss any blocks, it won't work, as we have just demonstrated.
Hey.
This is all intentional, just to show that piece of information.
Every single block matters. And here another neat thing about Lightmatica. Once you've set up a working Lightmatic, once you build it in survival, you can use the schematic verifier to make sure that everything is correct.
Very true. Sponsored by Lightmatica, by the way.
Yes.
All right. We can load the Lightmatic again. And then if we look at this one, you can see that we're now 1 block below. And we can paste this machine in. Doobity-doobity-doobity. We've done this before. And if you're watching this as a video, and I've somehow decided to release this, don't forget, or I guess you probably won't have forgotten, but you should probably know that there is an improved setup by Vitamin C. I literally have never ran it. I don't know how it works, but I'm not making a tutorial video for it. Yeah, I'm not making a tutorial video for it. So if you want, you are free to try it. Go for it. It is at least slightly better. I would say use it if you are confident. If you're not confident, I mean, yeah, you can just use this. You'll break Bedrock either way. You'll just have a bit more overhead most likely. So yeah, all should be well. And we will fly back over here. Get our Elvar back. Double check that Elvar doesn't have anything in his hand. No, he doesn't. All is well. Start the machine yet again. over and over again. Boopity boopity boop. And then, as you can see this time, the machine has actually started, and we should be creating headless pistons. So we'll just double check that that works. Yeah, we're making headless pistons all as well. And everything else good over here. And when this machine gets over here, when the machine gets to about here, we're going to have issues. But yeah, so when this gets over here, we cannot be near the machine anymore. So we are missing 3 rows of pistons. Yeah, it is going to break now because... So if you're watching this video and you're thinking, how do I recover from something like this? What you would have to do is you would have to stop the machine. Then you would have to give the missing pistons to the player. So if you like accidentally loaded it, you have to give the missing pistons to the player. Because if we come over here, you can see this here is going to move over and it's going to come here. And then it's just going to be broken. The player's not going to be able to receive the pistons. I guess you can also fix it by deleting one ice block, which you
that's what I did. Yeah, there was one ice already there, and I broke it. That's where the pistons were on.
Yeah.
Oh, and this also happened.
So yeah. Well, you would need to basically it needs to look like this before the player gets the pistons. So we would have needed to delete another ice block, but in that case, it might have been able to recover. It probably would have been fine, but yeah, it's still probably going to be fine. In theory, assuming there aren't any pistons down here. But yeah, this is the correct state. There should be one piston here. There should be a missing piston here. And yeah, so most likely it'll be fine now. But it's a little iffy because like we have brought this player has basically ended up closer to the machine because we have removed a couple lines of the offset. So it should be fine, but it's risky. Actually, I'll briefly show you how to stop it. And the way I will do that is I'm just going to tick freeze, because I don't think we're in a state where we can stop it. As we went over earlier, you'd want to stop it right after this flying machine comes under here. That's like the earliest possible time you can stop it. And then like after a little delay, you still can. And because it's really wide, you've got a while to stop it. You have like a minute. And anyways, the way you would stop it once you saw that is you would fly over here. Turn off the automatic rendering. You'd fly over here and then you would see this stuff here. And you would place a piston, or sorry, a redstone block right here. And that would stop the machine. And the way that stops the machine is that there's a piston here that will try and grab this slime block, and we're just stopping that from happening. And then if you want to start the machine again, you can just destroy the redstone block. If you want to be really paranoid, you can also just destroy the slime block instead. And then the way you'd restart the restart the machine, is you'd place this slime block, you'd place a redstone block here, and then you would destroy this redstone block. Obviously, that would be when the machine is back, because there would be a sticky piston like this. So the sticky piston would come here, it would try to pull, there's no slime block here, it would be fine. Then you would be like, okay, I want to start the machine again. So you would place the slime block here, some block here, and then destroy it, and then this would pull the machine over. Yeah, and thanks to Glotz for helping me show this real quick. The proper video explanation, that's going to be very nice and high quality, will be released, but it's taking a bit longer than expected, so probably a good idea to do this real quick to show people how things work. But again, you can just use vitamin C setup instead. It'll just be different, and you won't be able to use the tools, probably. So